Good afternoon, good morning everyone. So honored and privileged to be part of the stage today. So the speakers before me, the experts before me have highlighted the term addiction very well, and by now you all know that certain substances or activities help you release a hormone called dopamine, which is a feel-good hormone, which is an euphoric hormone that is a pleasure center of the brain. Now the activities that help you release dopamine can range from anything like shopping, like listening to your favorite music, eating your favorite foods, which brings me to my topic. Two of the commonly called addictive foods are sugar and caffeine. One is sweet and the other is bitter. But before we start talking on this and to understand the addiction of these two foods, I'll share a personal fact with you. Years back, when I was studying for my 10th and 12th board exams, when I was in high school, I distinctly remember two things from that time. One used to be a flask of coffee on my study table at night to help me study till late, because I was never an early bird, never an early riser. And second thing, in the morning when we used to step out for the exam, we were given something sweet to eat, like a piece of jaggery or a patasha or mishri, or curd and sugar as a good luck charm so that we do well in exams. Little did I know that many years later, I would be at a prestigious school talking to high schoolers about sugar and caffeine addiction. Imagine. So both sugar and caffeine are present in so many foods together, like your colas, your tea, your coffee, energy drinks, all of these stuff, chocolates. But because they're very different in their properties, we'll talk about them one by one. Let's start with sugar. The moment you associate the word addiction with sugar, one sentence that comes to your mind is this: sugar is 8 times or technically much more addictive than cocaine. Now it's such a dramatic headline. How did this come into being? There was a study done on rats in France where they were fed saccharine-laced solution, which was later replaced with sucrose, and the behavior that was observed was similar to when they were fed cocaine intravenously. The same kind of pattern, binging, craving, withdrawal symptoms, the same kind of neurons that were released in the brain were very similar to when you were given or administered drugs. So that's how such a headline came into being, and people started getting scared of sugar. Talking about sugar, have we ever realized that it's an inseparable part of our life? Ever since you're born, as an infant, you put honey on your tongue, much before you're named also. You all must have distributed sweets, candies, I'm sure treated your classmates to ice creams and colas on your birthdays. We've been doing it when we were children, right? It has been part of your lives. Ever wondered why your homeopathic medicine, those drops, were given in sugar pills to you? Ever wondered why certain Ayurvedic treatments require honey as a carrier, as a base to be mixed with? Because sugar is something that helps transport nutrients or those kind of medicines to your bloodstream more effectively. But again, we do not have to go into excess. Now, to understand how much sugar intake is actually happening in your lives, if I just talk about sugar, you don't have to think of only the refined white sugar that is in the jar when you make tea or coffee. Sugar is hidden in so many names like these. So as students, as budding adults, what you need to always do is check your nutrition labels very carefully and watch out for all these names that sugar is disguised as. Anything which is maltodextrin, maltose, xylitol, cane sugar, high fructose corn syrup are all different forms of sugar. So if anything that you buy packaged and that says refined sugar is 5 grams, plus it has so much of all this, it also counts as your sugar intake. Now, why is sugar such a villain? What are the activities, what are the bad things that sugar can cause to you? When I ask you all, the common answers that I will get, number 1 is dental decay, and number 2 will be a term called insulin resistance, which is very common nowadays. Even youngsters understand it. What if I tell you that sugar can impact your memory negatively? Now, a good memory is something you all really need for the next 5-6 decades of your life. What if I tell you that it can lower your immunity because all the pathogens like bacteria, fungus, virus actually feed on sugar, and we are living in a post-COVID era, and you never know when the next pandemic strikes. So immunity is paramount. What if I tell you even the acne that you get at this age could be a result of high sugar intake that you are doing? Coming back to that blanket term called insulin resistance, how does it manifest in children at your age? It can cause stunted growth, it can cause early puberty in both boys and girls, it can cause polycystic ovarian disease for girls, can cause irregular periods, can cause dark lines around your neck, a buffalo hump on your back, and of course obesity. It can make you overweight. If you happen to become insulin resistant teenagers, it is very likely that you will progress to become maybe pre-diabetic adults, maybe type 2 diabetic adults. It is not common nowadays to find type 2 diabetics, say as young as early 20s or even late 20s. You don't have to wait till 50 for that to happen. And India has already been declared the diabetic capital of the world. So now that we understand what all sugar can do to you, let us not give up and try and understand what practical ways can help you fix a craving as well as an addiction. You cannot let craving proceed to an addiction, and I'm sharing very practical doable tips with you. Number one, mostly a sugar craving is a result of protein deficiency in your body. So the simple solution is make sure that each of your main meals, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner includes a protein. It could be dairy, cottage cheese, eggs, fish, lean poultry, lean meats, lentils, sprouts, any form. Try to do a protein for each of your meals. Point 2. Do not let there be a gap of more than 3 hours between your meals. Ensure that you snack on something, because beyond 3 hours your blood sugar levels will dip and your body will crave for carbohydrate for energy, and the most easily absorbable form of carbohydrates is sugar. So you will reach out for something sugary to eat or drink beyond 3 to 4 hours. Point 3. Work on your gut microbiome, your gut bacteria. There are trillions of bacteria in your gut, both good and bad. You need to improve the ratio between them. Your good bacteria should exceed the bad bacteria. How do you do that? I'm sure many of you must have been through antibiotic courses on and off. Every time you are on an antibiotic, it disrupts your gut bacteria. It washes away the good bacteria also with the bad one. So make sure you do probiotics also whenever you are advised antibiotics. Secondly, include fiber-rich foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, because they act as food for the good bacteria. They are known as prebiotics. So if your good bacteria is fed well, it will flourish very well in your gut. Point 4, move more. Indulge and engage in sports even during your exam time. For every 60 minutes that you are seated, get up and move for 6 minutes. For every 30 minutes that you are sitting and studying, take a break and get up and move and stand for 3 minutes at least. That will keep your blood sugar levels more stable. Point 5, ensure at least 7 to 8 hours of rested sleep, because if you are not fresh in the morning, you will again crave sugar to get energy rush, a sugar rush, and that vicious cycle will continue. Stay well hydrated. And lastly, very importantly, do not miss your weekly treats. Do not deprive yourself or shun sugar completely from your life. You all must be having your favorite foods. Somebody may be liking a cheesecake, somebody likes halwa or gulab jamun or a pastry. Indulge it once a week as a form of moderation, and you will not crave or become addicted to it. Now coming to my second topic, caffeine. Caffeine is undoubtedly the world's second most loved beverage after water. It is a well-known psychoactive stimulant, and it won't be wrong to say that drinking coffee is a culture in itself, right? I've had clients who are coffee drinkers, and they've been very, very precise about the kind of espresso or cappuccino or latte or mocha that they want. Such is the love for coffee. Do you know about 1 lakh metric tons of coffee is consumed every year all over the world? And 80% of the world's population is having caffeine in some form or the other, maybe tea, maybe coffee. Such is the importance of coffee in our lives, and yet we feel sometimes we are addicted to it. Now before we get further, I'll talk about 3 facts about caffeine. You must have seen somebody who drinks just half a cup of coffee may have trouble sleeping at night, and then you see another person who's downing 4 cups of coffee in a day and sleeps like a baby. Why does that happen? We all have different sensitivities to caffeine, just like alcohol. This is because of a gene called CYP1A2 gene, which actually controls the enzyme that is responsible for caffeine breakdown in your body. So different variants of that gene will result in different sensitivities to caffeine in your body. That is how some people tolerate it well and some don't. This is the amount of caffeine that is present in consumed beverages all over the world. Now, if I tell you that caffeine can work as a nutrient for you if done the right way. It can boost energy levels, it can beat fatigue, it can make you more alert, it can improve your cognitive function, it can improve memory, focus, concentration, all of that. But when done in the right amounts. Another interesting fact, whenever you consume coffee, these benefits, these good points are conveyed to your body or your brain within 15 minutes to 1 hour of having it. And it stays like that for the next 5 to 6 hours. That is called the half-life of caffeine. By then your body has already used up half of the caffeine that you've consumed. However, to completely eliminate caffeine from your system, it can take about 10 to 12 hours, which is long. That is why we say you should not consume tea or coffee beyond say 4 to 5 p.m. in the evening, because it can interfere with your sleep. Now coming to sleep, caffeine can also impact your quality of sleep. Whenever you sleep, you pass through 4 different stages. There is one stage called rapid eye movement, REM sleep. Caffeine can impact that. And again, if you don't sleep soundly, you will not wake up fresh, which will again make you crave sugar to get that energy rush. Okay. So again, like we say, that there has to be a fine line between what is tolerable limit and what is excess. What is that for caffeine? For adults who are 18 and above, it is about 300 to 400 mg a day, which means about 3 cups of coffee, along with anything else that could be tea, chocolates, cola, or something like that. But for children at your age, at 16, at 17, at 18, not more than 100 mg a day is advisable. There was a survey done amongst urban school-going kids in Delhi in 2017. It was a small survey with 300 participants, and it was observed that at least 10% of the boys were actually consuming more than 300 mg of caffeine a day. If at all you realize that you're doing more than 100 mg a day, or there could be 1 or 2 odd days sometimes when your caffeine intake exceeds, how to fix that? There are 3 ways you can fix your caffeine excess in your body. 1, do not cut back on caffeine abruptly. Don't stop having caffeine abruptly, because you may experience withdrawal symptoms like mood swings, irritation, wobbliness, nausea. Cut it down gradually. If you're someone who's already doing 2 cups a day, cut it by 1 cup, or replace your normal coffee with a decaf, or replace your second coffee with a green tea or a tea which has less caffeine comparatively. Second, include more water. Water is hydrating. It helps flush out most of the excess things that we do not require in the body, including your toxins. And point 3, include more cruciferous vegetables. They are broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. There is a phytochemical called quercetin, which is found in fruits and vegetables like apples, like cherries, like onions, shallots. These kind of foods will help you flush out caffeine more effectively from your body. You all are growing up adults. I'm sure these 2 have been part of your life, and maybe in a few months you will move out of school. You will probably go outside your school or your city or your country for higher studies, and you will be in different parts of the world experiencing different cuisines. But undoubtedly, maybe sugar and caffeine will continue to be part of most of your adult life. And if we try and follow these tips, I'm sure you will be food wise and you will be able to break the chains of addiction and not really be addicted and still enjoy these 2 in moderation. Thank you.